Carolina, by the way. Oh, what a speaking of just like in the middle, in the morass of just nowhere land. Bench Cam, well, because of course, I mean, whatever. Like, what are they? They're going to get through 2 years. And it's like, what does Matt rule exactly? Where are we in the development of this program?
Well, wouldn't you say if you're like the Niners, just looking at the landscape of the NFC, you actually feel pretty good about big picture? Carolina has no way out of it in sight. There are no quarterbacks available. They're fucked. Minnesota, they're going to fire their head coach. Now, they got some talent, but they don't really. You beat them several times over the last couple of years. Like I said, the football team has no.
They don't have a franchise quarterback.
The Minnesota. Falcons, we'll see this week. I mean, they're going nowhere fast. The Saints would be scary if they could pull off one of these deals, right? Get a Russ, get a Carr, but that's still we're asking for a pretty monumental NFL moment to happen for them, right? For them to get a quarterback, it would be an enormous day in the NFL in March, right? That'd be a huge story. So we're asking for something that like doesn't happen that often to go their way. Seattle is probably the one shittier team this year that probably isn't as bad as they've been, right? Like you played the Seattle season 10 times, more than likely they're not 5-8.
Yeah, I would say this though.
The Lions, I think Giants, it's a great Bears point. All suck.
I think it's a great point. Now, Trey Lance, yes, he's unproven. Very unproven. Like, as unproven as it gets, for the most part. But he doesn't have to be anything other than a guy who you help if you can supplement, especially using some of Jimmy's money. We know you have good receivers. We know for the most part you can block well enough, particularly for a mobile quarterback. You've got enough good players on defense. If you can just figure out, make your corners just passable so you don't have to score 30 points a game. Because, to your point, look at the NFC and how many teams in the next 3 years.
I think the AFC is way better.
It's better. Just look at it this way. How many of the 16 teams the NFC in the next 1, 2, 3 years are doing some or in the middle of or about to have to reset everything, right?
Well, what if Tom retires?
I would say, what? If Tom retires?
Well, I mean, he's 44.
Okay, I mean, and there's 3 teams, right? There's Green Bay.
Is he going to play till he's 47?
There's Green Bay and Tampa, 2 teams whose right now their quarterbacks are old, but like we can't predict their demise yet. So let's just put them aside even though at some point they'll be resetting. Right now,
I wouldn't throw Green Bay in that mix just because 37 is not that old.
It's true, but I'm saying for the purpose of this exercise, let's not predict Tom Brady's demise. Arizona's good. Dallas is good. The Rams, I'll put them into their solid category with Stafford. Yeah. Washington, nope, they need a quarterback. Minnesota, nope, reset coming. Philly, nope, still figuring it out. Atlanta, gonna need a quarterback. New Orleans needs a quarterback. Carolina needs a quarterback. Chicago, I don't know. Giants, nope. Detroit, nope. Seattle feels closer to resetting it than not, but who knows? They always pull victory from the grips of death. But the point is, like, I think we just named 9 of the 16 teams. Well, 16 minus 9 is 7. That's how many playoff spots there are. Yeah, you're right. NFC is in a major state of transition right now. And simply having the guy that you think is the quarterback of the future is half the battle. Now, you got to make him that. But the Niners are ahead of some of those other teams that we just mentioned, a lot of them, just based on having the guy they think they believe in.
We're recording this, but Fields does have 2 touchdowns in the first half. I don't know what they look like.
Maybe he's a guy. Maybe are they changing
but they're going to reset the whole franchise. You're right. I mean, the Niners, they're going to have a ton of money. So I think it's going to be less about like they're going to have to nail their first round picks because they don't have any. It's going to be they're going to have to really, if they're going to spend $15, $20 million signing bonuses on a couple guys that are maybe some of those undervalued assets on teams that don't have the space. Hell, maybe make a trade for a guy. Like they're just gonna, if they get it right, they could be really, really good. Because we already see how good, how talented their core is. You just put their core guys, non-quarterback, against all the other top teams. They're right there, right? Bosa, Trent, Debo, Kittle, like that's Warner. I mean, Al-Shair's becoming like a legitimate core starter.
Ayuk,
like
I would say Juwan Jennings turned into like they're another Kendrick Bourne all over again.
Yeah, but to me, like if you're worth your salt, you should always be able to find Juwan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne. I have faith in good.
Yeah,
teams.
I'm just saying you have to find them like every 3 years. You don't have to find them every year because they're cheap. They're on your team for a couple of years.
Yeah, got them for a couple of years, making $750,000, $800,000. I'm with you.
So
they're going to have to find corners. That's what.
Yes.
I'll give the Eagles are a good example. A couple years ago, Howie got Slay for a 3rd round pick, and he's been awesome for them.
Wow.
So can you do but if you make that move with a team that doesn't have many draft picks, you got to get it right. So if they're going to use a 3rd round pick to get, Byron Murphy, I'm just throwing out a name. Obviously, the Cardinals wouldn't trade, but you know what I mean? You just better be right. Because they've made a couple trades, and it's if they could do the D Ford one over, they probably would. But I get why they did it, and it always feels good at the time. They're bold moves. You just got to be right on them. Because you got these other teams that are you're just kind of incremental moves. The other teams we listed, half of them in the NFC, have to find the fucking quarterback. You might too, but you can at least have a guy to work with. You already have the guy on your team.